Guys, look at my two cats. That's Apollo and that's Luna. Say hello. Okay, so there's all this chatter online from reviewers that Samsung's new ultra-thin phone is pointless and nobody really asked for this. True, I guess. I didn't ask for this phone to be made, but after spending a month with it, I kind of wish I asked for it sooner. This is Samsung's brand new Galaxy S25 Edge, and it's one of those devices that you have to see and feel and use a lot in person to believe what I'm about to say. I wish Apple made a phone like this. I mean, they probably are with the rumors of iPhone 17 Air heating up, but for now, this is all we got, and I've been loving every second with this phone day after day. No, it's not perfect. It has its trade-offs, and we'll talk about all of that as we explore why the Edge is special, uncover the shadow of the Edge, and answer the big question: should you buy this phone for yourself? So what makes the Edge so special? Okay, so that is a $2 toonie here in Canada. 3 toonies in Canada are about the same thickness as one Galaxy S25 Edge, just to kind of give you some perspective on how thin this device is. Even with this toonie example that I demoed just before, there is nothing in this video that I can do to communicate how thin and light this phone is to use on a day-to-day basis. Like, you have to try and live with it to really understand how much of a difference that makes, and makes you question if it's actually worth all of that to give up on the trade-offs that we'll also talk about later in the video. The size and weight of a phone like this makes it genuinely comfortable in the pocket, unlike something bulkier like the 16 Pro Max. It's easier to maneuver and even makes one-handed use feel natural. Honestly, I still get that wow moment every time I pick this up, the same way that I do actually still with the 13-inch M4 iPad Pro. And you can tell, like, Samsung is doing everything that they can do to slim things down without sacrificing too much in the process. Like, you're still getting a stunning 6.7-inch 120Hz AMOLED display and the same Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor found in the S25 Ultra, so that means high-end gaming and buttery smooth performance, built with the same high-end titanium frame that contributes to its weightlessness, and even upgraded Gorilla Glass to help with fall damage. This is pretty good. I think it sounds, the speakers here are pretty decent. I don't find myself complaining about how these have sounded over the last like 30 days or so. I think these are quite passable for how small and thin these drivers would have been to squeeze into a device like this. We also get access to the same main 200 megapixel sensor found on the S25 Ultra, which is awesome because honestly for me, the cameras was the biggest thing I wanted them to minimize the compromises on. I've been content honestly with the shots that I've been able to get on the main sensor with the Edge. It's just such a good reminder of how far Samsung's phones have come with the quality of the photos that you can get out of them. I haven't made much use of the ultra wide admittedly because it's only a 12 megapixel sensor instead of the 50 megapixels that you would find on the Ultra, but it is passable for most people, I think. I'm a huge video nerd. As you can tell, I run a YouTube channel and I've spent a ton of time shooting video in the new log profile on the S25 Edge, and you end up with really clean looking footage that brings it that much closer to looking like a traditional camera. Like, it looks fantastic. On top of all of this, we get One UI 7 out of the box, and my goodness, like, this is peak Samsung. It looks super clean, loving the redesigned menus, the inclusion of the now bar, the endless customization features. It just feels so good to use every single day. It gives stock Android on the Google Pixel a run for its money and has me constantly questioning which Android OS I prefer. Okay, so although the thinness of this design is an incredible feat of engineering and Samsung did so much to minimize the compromises, every trait still has its shadow, and it's no different with the S25 Edge. For starters, I can't tell you how many times I forgot that this was in my pocket and it slipped out, risking damage. Now, if you look, The phone is good as new, which is a testament to its durability and the titanium frame, like awesome, but it's a new problem that I didn't realize I'd be facing with a slimmed down phone like this. Like, I'm constantly having this slide out of my pocket. I also really miss not having a telephoto lens on here because ultra wide has never really been my go-to second lens on a phone. I always preferred the more punched in photos that I could capture. I've also had isolated Wi-Fi issues with this phone specifically. I can't really find anyone online that's been experiencing it like I have. I've had to actually reformat this phone a few times to get it to fix itself properly, but it still hasn't been that stable compared to my Google Pixel or my iPhone. Even outside of the house, my 5G connection hasn't been the best, if I'm being completely honest. When it does come to battery life, Samsung didn't include any of the new innovative tech that we've seen from other competitors. Like, there's no silicon carbon batteries like on some of the OnePlus phones that we've seen recently. Instead, you're working with a pretty standard 3,900 milliamp hour cell. And look, you can't fight science here. Smaller battery, power-hungry flagship specs. This phone is going to struggle to last all day depending how you use it. So it's barely been 24 hours with this phone, and I'm finding that I need to charge it a lot. Like right now it's 3:11 p.m. and the battery's at 14%. I do know that when you get a new phone for the first time, it takes time for it to understand your behavior. The AI, battery saver stuff is trying to understand like how you use the phone to optimize the battery life. So in some sense, I'm like, okay, that's just new phone syndrome, and it should hopefully get better over the next couple of days. But definitely on day one, the battery is not that amazing, but to be expected for how thin this phone is. Looking at my battery history, I average around 4 hours of screen on time over a 24-hour period of no charging. That's actually not bad considering how thin and light this phone is, but keep in mind, that was with light use, like social media, web browsing, some texting. There was no gaming, no Lightroom, nothing heavy on my battery usage history here. The second I start using it heavily, like shooting tons of photos, videos, trying to play games, watching a bunch of content, I start to get major battery anxiety. Like, I've had to top it up midday more than once just to make it to the nighttime. So yeah, like, you can get a full day of use if you are mindful and your habits are on the lighter end with your phone usage. I've done it plenty of times. It is 100% possible. But if you are someone that is more of a moderate to heavy user, you'll want to keep a charger or a power bank nearby. It's one of the biggest shadows of this ultra slim design, and it's something that you really want to consider before making this your main phone. Okay, so we've seen both the gifts and the shadow of what an ultra slim phone brings to our lives. So where does that leave us? Should you buy the Samsung S25 Edge? Well, first we need to look at the price because budget is king at the end of the day. This starts at $1,099 USD, which is about $100 more than the S25 Plus and about $200 less than the Ultra. Honestly, I don't think you should buy this phone unless you've genuinely taken issue with how thick phones have become over the years. For most people, long battery life is just a non-negotiable, and with how much you're sacrificing here, you really have to want something ultra thin to be okay with less juice. But let's say that is you. Say that you do want something like this. I think what Samsung created here is genuinely impressive. You're getting something that comes really close to what the S25 Ultra can offer, but in a far more appealing design. Every time I pick up this phone, I'm still stunned that it exists, that it's this thin, that it manages to pack in so many premium features in the slim body. And even with the hit to battery life and the lack of a telephoto lens, the two things I really wish it had, I've been super happy with using this every day. Would I daily this phone long term? Honestly, probably not. Like, as much as I want to, I need a phone that lasts longer on a single charge. Like, that's a non-negotiable, but who knows? Maybe next year Samsung gives us a longer lasting silicon carbon battery. Maybe they find a way to squeeze a third telephoto lens in there for me, and I end up eating my words and dailying the S26 Edge in the new year. Only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment a blue heart if you made it to the very end of this video. Subscribe if you're brand new to my channel, I'm on my way to 70,000 subscribers. We are so close. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll talk to all of you guys in the next one. Peace.